Well, hey, howdy, hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by to join me today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Ellie, and I'm a witch. This over here is my teaching assistant, Andy, and today is Tuesday, and normally on my channel that would mean it is tea time and true crime. However, it is actually another episode of Misheard History, and we're going to be talking about Ivan the Sixth. Due to some technical difficulties of last week, I was unable to film my Ivan the Sixth video for Misheard History, and I didn't end up finishing the script for Jeannie the Feral Child, so we're doing this all sorts of weird. Today, I'm just going to do an extra Misheard History episode talking about Ivan the Sixth, which I wasn't able to get to, and then next week, I will be back to my normal schedule, and for Tea Time and True Crime, I'll talk about Jeannie the Feral Child. Yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Now, I will preface this video by saying that there is mentions of child abuse and murder, and so if that's not something you think you can handle, I completely understand. I do have plenty of other videos on this channel that are not that. Just this last week, I talked about the cryptids of Colorado and the history of Cripple Creek, so that might be more your speed, but I do hope to see you in another video. But for those of you who do decide to stick around, let's go ahead and talk about Ivan the Sixth. Ivan Antovich, also known as Lone Antovich, was born August 23rd of 1740 to a noble couple and was the grandnephew of the childless Empress Anna. Now, the Empress was on her deathbed at the time and desperately needed an heir or heir apparent to the throne, so she adopted Ivan to be her heir apparent. In doing this, she also appointed her lover Ernest Johann van Byron to be the child's regent until he came of age. Aside from being an heir, she made this move in order to ensure her lover would live a life of privilege and power for at least some time. After the Empress's death, in just a matter of weeks, Byron had been exiled to Siberia by the nobles. They viewed Byron as an opportunist and as potentially dangerous. This meant that Ivan's mother, Anna Leopoldovna, was now regent for her son. Byron was not happy to be exiled, but he did avoid death, and for that most people would be thankful. Being named emperor in October, Ivan was just a few months old at the time. He only ruled for 13 months. Anna and Ivan were overthrown in a coup started by Elizabeth Petrovna, who was a sister of the late Empress Anna, and who believed it was her birthright to rule, not Ivan's. Ivan and his parents were then imprisoned in a fortress in northern Riga. Unfortunately, when he was just 2 years old, Ivan was separated from his parents and sent to solitary isolation in Schusselburg for the next 19 years of his life. At the time of the separation, Ivan had no education other than having just learned the alphabet. He was also starved of human connection and affection, which greatly affects a child's development. Of the few people who did see him, they all understood that he was a very sad child, one who was very abused and neglected. Catherine II wrote of Ivan, "Apart from his painful and almost unintelligible stammering, he was bereft of reasoning and human understanding." It seemed that he did still understand he was, or should have been, above the guards, being noted as screaming at them to treat him better and that he was the prince of the empire. This only resulted in Ivan being shackled and beaten with sticks or whips. Now, the whereabouts of Ivan were kept a closely guarded secret. While Ivan may not have been a fit ruler, he was the closest legal claimant to the throne than anyone ruling, so no one could chance someone finding out where he was being kept. Now, the guards at the fortress were not pleased in the rules either, but not for the moral reasons one should take issue with. Captain Danilov Leslev and Lieutenant Lukachekin were the only guards who were watching Ivan, and therefore were also essentially locked in isolation. This was not what they had wanted, and so they reached out to their employer, Nikita Panin, who at the time was working under Catherine the Great. Now, Catherine had taken power in 1762, and she wanted to forget Ivan as best she could, even going as far as to say that if anyone tried to break Ivan out of the tower, the guards were to kill Ivan. As they had no choice but to keep watching Ivan, the guards considered killing him themselves to get it over with. But they bade their time, and in 1763 they received a letter and 1,000 rubles from Panin, telling them they only needed to wait until the summer of 1764, and they would no longer need to guard Ivan. The last piece of the puzzle was Vasily Mirovich. Now, his family's land and estate were seized by Peter the Great, since Vasily's grandfather fought against Peter during the invasion of Sweden in 1709. Thanks to this, Vasily was penniless and was supposed to be responsible for supporting his 3 sisters as well, but was unable to do so. In order to make ends meet, he turned to gambling, praying, and even sent an appeal to Catherine the Great to return his family land, but nothing worked and he remained penniless. As a last resort, he realized he would have to get a job and start working. Shock horror. He joined the army and was stationed in Schusselburg. It was now that he would hear stories of a secret prisoner being held in a part of the fortress that no one was allowed access to. He also heard that it was exiled former emperor, and he thought that this would be his chance. He was able to gather support from fellow soldiers, and on July 4th of 1764, at about 2 a.m., the crew opened fire at the inner fortress and managed to get the garrison to surrender. Now they had to make their way through the maze that was the inner fortress. When they finally found the guards in charge of Ivan, it was not what Vasily had hoped for. The guards were covered in blood, and Ivan was dead. At this point, Vasily surrendered without resistance and was brought before Catherine to face sentencing for his crime. Though she literally ordered Ivan to be killed, she would not allow for the torture of prisoners. As such, not much information was able to be gathered from Vasily, like who he worked with or what the plans were. He ended up being sentenced to death by beheading, a punishment he accepted with grace. He was said to have been calm as he walked to the executioner's block and remained so even as the axe was brought down. Now, some people believe that this was a conspiracy, and I can't say that I disagree. It's strange that Pannon told the guards to wait until the same summer that Vasily happened to stage a coup. It is believed in some circles that Catherine the Great orchestrated the whole thing. With so many pleas and appeals, Vasily seemed desperate, and he was. He could have easily been a pawn. It was Catherine that made the order that the guards kill Ivan if any jailbreak or coup began, and it was her direct employee that told said guards that they would not be in the fortress much longer. I think it's plausible, but we may never know the truth one way or another. And that is all that I have for you today. This was very sad to learn about. It looked like when I was researching, a lot of people also didn't know much about what had actually happened to Ivan. Like, you hear about, baby emperors and whatever like that. A lot of people thought that he was just killed in the coup, and unfortunately that was not the case. I am on the boat that I do think it was a conspiracy. But I also don't understand why keep him alive and just abuse him for his entire life. Like, what was the goal of that? He was better off dead. At least he wasn't in pain then. But that I am glad that was a little bit of a shorter, I want to say case, a little bit shorter of a history, because it was just really, really sad and something that nobody should have to have gone through, especially like, I get, birthrights and all that kind of stuff. But he was a child. Just remove him from the throne, send him to exile with his parents, and call it a day. But yeah, so next week we're gonna talk about Jeannie the Fair Child. Oh, I really just do it. I'm all like, child abuse, child abuse, child abuse. Not child abuse, child abuse, child abuse. I don't know. It's really sad. There's just so many cases of child abuse and child murder out there, and I think it needs to be talked about. But it is really, really sad. But yeah, that's it. I am, once again, for the second time this week, not wearing something that I normally wear. Another, what do you call these? Muscle tee. Because I'm going to start actually going to the gym. After my shoulder surgery, I was super excited because now I'm able to lift weights and put the same amount of pressure on this shoulder as I am this one. And so I actually want to start getting into working out. Unfortunately, I've had more shoulder issues that I'm having worked out by my orthopedic surgeon now. But yeah, about probably next month after I move, which obviously I'll give you guys more details about. I also might TikTok the move itself if anybody's interested. But I think I'm going to do TikTok and maybe shorts on YouTube about the whole like working out and getting in shape thing, because this is not on purpose. I am not this small on purpose. But yeah, I want to get some muscles, and if anybody has any tips, please let me know. I'm going to post on TikTok, and if anybody has any tips about what I should do or my form or anything like that, please let me know there. I would appreciate that because I want to do this properly and not hurt myself. Anyways, normal content. Next week I will go back to normal. I'll have a cryptid video, Misheard History, and then a Tea Time and True Crime case. So back to normal scheduled program. Just got a little bit out of hand there. But yeah, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye.